Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
South got the big hit, and Mike came in and shoved, and so a lot of it was true. And I just feel like this was meant to be for this group. It's destiny for this group of kids.
Well, call them Destiny's Darlings if you want to. Gary Gilmore of Coastal Carolina. They're moving on to the Supers, as are the Gamecocks of South Carolina and Chad Holbrook moving on to the Supers. USC just a little while ago knocking off UNCW in Columbia 10-5. Earlier today, Coastal Carolina finally wrapped up the regional in Raleigh. Now, last night, if you were awake and following and watching as I was, it was the top of the ninth, and Coastal was trailing 5-4 to NC State, one out, bases loaded. It was raining the whole time, and then it just turned into a monsoon. And the umpires called the game. They waited. Then they sent everybody home. So imagine having to sleep overnight with that on your mind. I'm sure none of them did. So they come out this afternoon at 2 o'clock, and quickly they tie it up on an infield out. Then they get a two-run single from Lancaster. Morrison shuts it down in the bottom of the ninth, and Coastal wins a thriller. Did the old dog pile in Raleigh to celebrate. Congratulations. Then, here in Columbia, Wilmington took the early 1-0 lead. The Gamecocks came back, had a 5-run fourth, I think it was. Yeah, 5-run fourth. They were on their way. Yeah, boy, Wilmington just had a terrible day in the infield. I guess the nerves got to them. Big crowd of over 7,000. Gamecock fans turned out well and strongly supported their team. Gamecocks go on to a 10-5 win. K-Mac is there, and the post-game presser is going to be cranking up here shortly, and we will have K-Mac on with us here after the break to talk more about the Gamecocks win. So, South Carolina Saturday at 3 o'clock will host Oklahoma State in the first of the Supers. The second game will be at 3 o'clock on Sunday. And, of course, hey, you're just happy to host the regional, host the Super. It's going to be hotter than hell out there, but it usually is around Super Regional time. They're talking about
metal bats.
They're talking about 100 degrees in Columbia this weekend, so be prepared. Now, Coastal, if Rice beats LSU, and they're playing right now in Baton Rouge, and Rice is winning 2-0 in the bottom of the fourth. If Rice wins, Rice comes to Coastal for a Super beginning on Saturday. If not, if LSU rallies, Coastal will go to Baton Rouge. This thing's starting to get real interesting. So here's our plan. We got K-Mac over at USC. We'll hear from the game. We'll hear from K-Mac coming up. Hopefully we're going to catch up with Coastal coach Gary Gilmore. We're also trying to catch up with Oklahoma State coach Josh Holliday. They stayed at Clemson. They practiced at Clemson today. And so we hope to catch up with him. And we got all that coming for you tonight and your thoughts about things here on Sports Talk. We'll be right back. All right, you Holbrook haters out there now, you know that you can shove it because he had a great regional as a coach, I think. He was fired up. He was emotional. He pushed many right buttons. He put players in, and they responded. Today he was calling, excellent plays for his offense, bunting at the right time, moving guys ahead. And it's like any time pro. I mean, when you make a call, when you put a bunt on and your guy executes, you as a coach look very smart. When the guy pops up a bunt and it turns into a double play or something like that, then everybody says, oh, he's an idiot. Why'd you put the bunt on then? Things worked. Things worked after they lost that opener on Friday. Things start, as he was just saying in the press conference, things started to click. They got some breaks on some things, and they played. Look, they escaped against Duke, and it was really a coach's decision that paved the way for the win over Duke. It was the decision to go to Josh Reagan on a 3-0 pitch with 2 on to replace Taylor Widener, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And they brought him in. He did end up losing the batter. Bases loaded, nobody out, and he gets out of the inning because they had left-handers coming up. They got Reagan in there. He got the job done. Excellent time to make that decision, and it paid off. You give Holbrook and the coaching staff a ton of credit for making decisions in-game and decisions pre-game with the personnel. He went with Hunter Taylor today at catcher, guy that's been hot for him, and he came through. He started Taylor Widener today, almost started Josh Reagan. He went with Widener. He pitched well till they brought in Reagan. He pitched well for the most part. This game was thoroughly in hand. Wilmington did score late to creep to within 8-5, but then John Jones hit a 2-run homer. No, I'm sorry. It was a 2-run double mm-hmm. to make it 10-5.
And that was another great move because here's a kid that's been struggling, mm-hmm. and now he can make it so you won't have to go to the oxygen in the 9th inning by, putting those 2 runs. And I think UNCW had pretty much felt that it was slipping away after they scored. If they'd have gone 3 up and 3 down, I think they really threatened South, getting 2 batters hit. And then John Jones comes up with a ball that, in my opinion, watching it on television, could not have been more than a 1.5 feet from being a home run.
10-13-0 for the Gamecocks. They left 7-5, 10-3 for Wilmington. They left 8. Recap of the scoring very quickly. Wilmington scored bottom of the 3rd, take a 1-0 lead. Gamecocks in the top of the 4th. They were the visiting team. They scored 5 in the top of the 4th. Destino singling through the right side, scoring 2. Stokes singled to left. That scored 1. Arendis grounding out to the it was a sacrifice bunt. Here's what I'm talking about. They called for the safety squeeze. Arendis got the butt down perfectly to the pitcher. Run scored. Gamecocks scored 5 runs in the inning. And Stokes, by the way, that was a 2-run single, not a 1-run single. It's a 2-run single. So 2-run single by Destino, 2-run single by Stokes. The safety squeeze by Arendis. That's your 5 runs. Then in the 6th, Stokes singling in the infield, scored a run. Own bases loaded walk, scored a run. That made it 7-1. Gamecocks scored a run in the 8th. Arendis homered to right. Another one of those personnel decisions that paid off in bunches. The guy's just, he was on fire in the regional. He homers to right. That makes it an 8-1 game. Bottom of the 8th, this might have to be a little bit of a concern. Bottom of the 8th, they did rough up Clark Schmidt. He was pitching for the Gamecocks then. And the Seahawks scored 4 runs on 4 hits to make it 8-5 and give you something to be maybe a little bit worried about. But then, as we just talked about, top of the 9th, Jones A 2-run double to right center made it 10-5, and that was it. Reagan got the win, 3-2. Ryan Foster, the ace for Wilmington, he takes a loss. He started breezed through the first 3 innings. I think the Gamecocks didn't have a hit until the 4th, but they got to him big and got into that bullpen, and he finishes at 13-2. So the Gamecocks win. They're 46-16. Wilmington finishes at 41-19. So, Holbrook, you can't say enough about the job they've done, from going from missing the regionals last year to getting to a super regional and hosting pro. That's all you can ask of your team. If they don't make it to Omaha at this point, you tip your hat to Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State is a darn good team. Having watched them this past weekend, I'm telling you, this is going to be a battle. They've got arms. They've got speed at the top of the lineup. They can hit for power. They don't hit necessarily team-wide as in a great average, but they have some guys with big, gaudy numbers. But they do have speed. They have speed, they have pitching, and they play great defense.
Well, the key point of South Carolina, and people have to remember, they've got to this record after last season because they brought in a lot of new blood. But guess what? That new blood was successful in the regular season, but they hadn't been here.
Mm-hmm.
So it took that break, the base hit that hit the bag at third to set up the victory over Duke, for those guys to say, look, we got a break going now, let's play. Because I think young players especially need to see a break to see that things are going their way. And I think those guys from then on stepped up. Then you had the collision with the catcher.
Mm-hmm.
That necessitates Arendas coming in, and he played like a guy that's been there before. This is the postseason. He was ready.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It was Webb that Tony Schufo, ever on the scene and ever alert, lets us know that it was Webb who was replaced in the Duke game and not Widener. So we make that correction. South Carolina wins. They advance to the Super Regional Saturday at home against Oklahoma State, 3:00 at Founders Park. As for Coastal Carolina today, as we mentioned, winners over NC State, a game that sleep overnight on a deficit, trailing 5-4. 1 out, bases loaded. They come back today. They score.
I think it was 5-3, wasn't it?
No, it was 5-3. I'm sorry. They were down 5-3. They get a run in to make it 5-4. Then the 2-run single by Lancaster makes it 7-5, and they go on from there to win over NC State to get to the Super Regional. And they used Andrew Beckwith coming in out of the pen. They finished with Morrison. He shut down State 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 9th. So they await Rice or LSU. It's the bottom of the 5th now in Baton Rouge. Rice is leading 2-0 over the number 1 seed LSU. If Rice goes on to win, then it will be a Super Regional at Coastal Carolina this weekend as well.
Oof.
It was let's see, 1, 2, 3. Hang on a second. 2, 4, 5. Yeah, they were down 5-3 going to bed last night and came back and scored 4 runs.
We were talking about that just in the office today. Who got the lesser amount of sleep? The pitcher who know he may be coming in to that situation tomorrow, or the hitter who knew he's going to be at the plate next day?
The hitter who was at the plate was to start it off today was Young. He hit a ground ball in the infield for an out, but it got the run home to pull them to within a run. And then Lancaster hit the 2-run shot that got him ahead. And then they went on and added a couple of more runs. 7-11-1 for Coastal Carolina, 5-12-3 for NC State. And the win goes to, I think the win, let's see here if I can get the box up real quick. I think the win goes to Beckwith. Yeah, Beckwith out of the bullpen got the win, and Morrison finished up with the save in the bottom of the 9th. We'll be back here on Sports Talk. And we're back, Sports Talk South Carolina radio network from downtown Columbia, where it is hot and steamy today. Good to have you with us, Phil Kornblut, Professor Tom Hayes, and K-Max over at USC. He'll be over here in a little bit. We're going to hear from the Gamecocks coming up shortly, now that they have wrapped up their post-game press conference and they are advancing to the Super Regional. And let's give you another update from Baton Rouge, and then we'll talk about the Super Regional matchups, because everything has been set up now as far as games this weekend. And it is bottom of the fifth, Rice continuing to lead LSU 2-0. Now, here are the games for the Super Regionals as announced today by the NCAA. On Friday, Boston College plays at Miami. That'll be a 5 o'clock start on ESPNU. East Carolina at Texas Tech, 8 o'clock on the U. Arizona at Mississippi State, 6 o'clock on the Deuce. TCU at Texas A&M, 9 o'clock on the Deuce.
Now that'll be a war right there.
Oh, no doubt about it. And you got some great matchups in this thing. All right, now on Saturday, Florida State at Florida at 6 on the Deuce. I'm going to go here to where it says if Coastal Carolina and Rice wins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Coastal's done. We know that, and Rice is winning. So it'll be Rice at Coastal Carolina on Saturday, 9 o'clock on ESPNU.
At the beach.
9 bells. You'll have plenty of time to get your time on the beach in and everything else. 9 o'clock. Then they don't give you a start time for the second game on Sunday. 1, 4, 7, and no network determination there. Now, South Carolina winning, Oklahoma State at South Carolina, 3 o'clock Saturday on the Deuce, 3 o'clock Sunday on the Deuce or the U, and if a third game is necessary on Monday, to be determined. Santa Barbara at Louisville, Saturday at noon on the Deuce. So there you go. So that's what it's going to look like.
I keep forgetting Louisville is in the Eastern time zone. Is it not?
And you know what else you got going on in Louisville this weekend? Muhammad Ali funeral. Of course, that's on Friday, I believe.
Yes.
But that's going to be a packed city with a lot of important people there. And, the Louisville fans, they do a great job supporting their baseball program. And but the game's on Saturday at noon. The funeral and all that stuff should be cleared out of the way by the time they get around to baseball. But the build-up on Friday, practicing, and the build-up is likely to be, it will be overshadowed by everything else going on in Louisville that day. All right, so there you go with the schedule of things to come in the Super Regionals. South Carolina and Coastal Carolina are in. Got a quick email here from Jim, who is, I guess, chiding us for saying great coaching on Saturday, ? Guess he's referring to what? Bride getting thrown out at the plate and all that kind of stuff. Didn't say it was 100% perfect, my gosh, but you're going to the Super Regional. What more do you want? Welcome back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, a super sports talk heading into the super regionals. We're going to have two, USC at home to Oklahoma State, Coastal Carolina, either at home to SU. Right now, they're in the bottom of the six. Rice is the home team. Six, Rice is leading LSU 2-0 in Baton Rouge. So, if you're Coastal, you are just chewing on everything. And Coastal's on its way home from Raleigh. They've got a big – actually, they should be home by now. They had a reception planned for around 6 o'clock. So they must be back in Conway. Obviously, tune into this thing because a chance to host the Super Regional, that is so much in your favor in terms of getting to Omaha. Just a few minutes ago, USC wrapped up its post-game presser after defeating UNCW 10-5. And Chad Holbrook with some players. I'm not sure who the players were. John Jones? John Jones? No. Are you sure, Carson? You think? Well, we'll find out. Here's a Chad Holbrook, couple of players talking to the media after the win.
Things didn't look good for us on Friday night. I think someone told me after that game we have about a 7% chance to win our regional based on the history of the tournament. And I didn't mention that to our team just because I felt like they felt pretty good about themselves when they showed up to the park on Saturday. And I was going to use it as motivation, but I didn't say anything. And we had some good things happen to us, obviously, over the course of the weekend. And I have a group of guys that just don't quit. They believe in the uniform they're representing. There's something special about that Gamecock spirit when it comes to putting on a baseball uniform. And they fought back in it and found a way to win the thing. And I couldn't be more proud of my team. UNC Wilmington is physical and good on offensive team as we've faced all year. And they're coached great. I think the world of Mark Scaff, Randy Hood, Matt Williams, all those guys. They've had a great year. And, if we were having to play at Wilmington, the shoe might be on the other foot. But we got to play at home, and our fans were incredible. That's what a home field environment's all about. And, that's why every regular season game is important, because when you get a chance to play at home and you get your fans behind you, atmospheres like that help you win. And our fans were awesome. Our players were awesome. Our pitchers, incredible. It was just a true team effort. Today, yesterday, Sunday, Saturday. We just honestly, we played our tails off, and we beat some darn good teams to do it. So we're going to enjoy this one for a couple hours, and we'll get ready for the next step tomorrow.
John, how good did it feel not only to be asked to pinch hit in that situation, but to get it done?
Just like you'd imagine, Coach believed me to go in there in a pretty big spot to, kind of give us a little more edge going in the ninth, and always feels good getting hits, driving runs.
Alex, from where you guys were Friday to now, what do you feel like you guys proved this weekend?
I guess honestly that we're just a real hard group to beat, both mentally and out on the field. I love my team to death. Even after we lost that game, we were in the locker room and we were like, guys, we're not done. We were obviously a little embarrassed, not necessarily embarrassed, but we underachieved what we wanted to do. But we realized our goals, and we achieved those goals. Now it's time to keep making those. And I'm very excited to do that with these guys.
And John, also this last month and a half after such a hot start, what was that like for you to, be going up there and not producing well and then finding yourself on the bench?
Again, it's just, you go up there and you're really not trying to think about it. But as far as getting benched, that's just the way it goes. If you're not hitting, somebody right behind you ready to hit, and they come in and hit, nothing you can do about that. It's a team sport, and I'm glad to see it, and we're winning games. That's what matters to me.
Josh, at what point this weekend did you guys realize that y'all had a chance to pull off the 4 wins and come out of the loser?
From game one, we knew we had the chance to beat any team that comes into this park. You know, we got beat on first game, but that didn't stop us. We knew if we put everything together and we pitched, we hit, and we stay as a team, stay together, we could beat anybody.
Alex, for you, this team, this program has that win anyway philosophy. You look up and down the line of it seemed everyone and anyone was contributing. What does it say about the makeup of this team, and how much do you guys embody that win anyway slogan that you guys and mantra that you guys preach all the time?
Well, I mean, that all starts with our coaching staff. The decisions that they make, the order that they hit us in, that's all has a lot of thought put into it before the game. So that's where everything starts. But when it comes down to it, it's how we carry out our business on the field. And the last 4 games have been a lot of fun. And this regional, I think we learned a lot about our team. And I think that what we learned is nothing but a lot of momentum going forward into the super regional.
For all of y'all knew this was going to be a 2:00 game on a Tuesday. So when y'all came and saw the 7,000 people here, largest crowd of regional, just what did that mean to y'all?
It was awesome.
It was sweet.
Yeah, the fans were huge all weekend. They're
Oh, this sweet's better.
sweet.
We have some nice bosses that live in Columbia that allowed them to come out of war. It was incredible. I know I'm speaking out of turn, but we don't win with. I mean, the fans are incredible. And I know I was a little bit of a crybaby early in the year, urging them to help us a little bit more. But that's what I meant. And they can make it hard on an opponent, and they sure did this weekend.
Alex, was there a sense with this, if you guys could crack Foster, that bullpen was pretty vulnerable?
Honestly, I mean, that kid, what he did today was that was really cool. What he managed to do. The fact that he threw a great game the other day and then came back to face us was pretty special for him. So I know that might have been the last time he'll pick up a baseball. So that's very big for him. But once we got past him, I mean, a great arm. Every time you can get into the bullpen, I know that's kind of it takes a little bit away from the other team, the momentum that they have. So once we got in the bullpen, we just continued to do work, and I just carried out throughout the entire game.
Josh, do you feel like you guys kind of showed off the pitching depth that you had all year?
Yeah, we've had depth all year. We display it this weekend, but the pitching, the depth has been with us all season long, and it got us to this point. And it doesn't matter who we run out there. You saw Clark, you saw Braden. They haven't come out the pen all year, and they came in 2 strikes, got outs, and we won the game. So we've had depth all year long, and it's been huge for us.
John, what's been your approach over the last month and a half? Extra time in the cage, the same kind of work. What have you been doing to try to get out of it?
Honestly, just letting the ball get deep and trying to use other field is probably doesn't look. But, when things don't go your way, it gets harder and harder. And I've definitely taken more swings, which I think was kind of a negative downside. I kind of beat myself up. I think that's where it really kind of snowballed for me.
Okay, I apologize to Carson. I should never question Carsonova.
But she will.
She knows what's going on. That was John Jones, and that was Josh Reagan, and that was Alex Destino. When we come back from the break, we'll give you a little more from Chad Holbrook. I think he deserves to be heard, and you need to hear what he had to say after the Gamecocks' victory besides his opening statement. So we'll bring that to you here coming up in a moment. Let's peek in at Baton Rouge. They're going to the 7th. It's 2-0. Rice, I got to see who's hurting this gem of a ball game.
Well, both of them. I mean, there's only 5 hits.
Yeah, but you got to go with the guy. LSU has used 3 pitchers. Their starter only went 1 1/3. Right now, I love this name, Jared Poche is pitching for LSU. Poche, Poche, with a little mark there at the end. Rice's starter is still in the game. Willie Amador has allowed 2 hits, has struck out 2, has not walked anybody. And it's letting your teammates do their job behind you. Willie Amador, does he have more left in the arm? We shall see. As promised, here is a little bit more from Chad Holbrook, since we only heard his opening statement a moment ago, then heard from the players. Let's hear what he had to say as he took questions from the media after the players were relieved of their duties at the press conference. Here we go with the questions to the coach.
Chad, you mentioned midseason that even when John was going through a slump, you were going to keep putting him in there. Didn't use him this weekend except a pinch hit. Just how difficult was that for you and for him, and how was he able to handle it?
Well, I'll be honest with you. It's been tough on me and him, but because I know when he's John Jones and he's got a fresh, clear mind, I know he's one of our best hitters. And but he hasn't had a clear mind the last couple of weeks. And as much as I wanted him to get it going, it was just time to put TJ in there and let him go. But I knew I had him on the bench, and I wasn't going to hesitate to use him. And sometimes, coming off the bench is the best thing for a kid that struggles, because you don't have time to beat yourself up, and you can get in the bullpen, you can help some guys out, you can be a good teammate, and you don't think about the negative. And literally, I was bad coaching in a way today because I pinch hit him late. He didn't have time to think. It was like he was in the bullpen, and all of a sudden, like, we need a lefty. I got to get Jones in here. And I thought he was beside me, and he was in the bullpen. And he didn't have time to think. He just had a full-fledged sprint into the dugout, got a bat, got a helmet, went up there and swung. And maybe if we can do that more often, clear his mind, he'll get back to who he is. But couldn't be prouder of him because he's been through a lot, and he's handled it like a pro. And I know he's one of our better hitters, but he's been through a tough stretch. This game will humble you, and it's humbled him. And but it was great to see him help us win that game today.
Chad, you've talked all year about how close this group is. Do you feel like, I guess, what you saw tonight kind of confirmed the type of guys you have in the locker room as far as coming out and winning 4 days?
I told them before the game today that win, lose, or draw today, I'm going to be proud of them. They've energized me when I needed energizing, to be honest with you. And it's been really, really neat to coach a group that's as close-knit, tough, works hard, stays together, and believes in each other. And that's neat to be around. Whether you win or whether you lose, it's neat to be around that. And they've had that infectious attitude all year. And they they exhibited that Gamecock spirit today and all weekend after we lost the first one. And they we can be difficult to beat here, and when we play well and we get the crowd going, and we played at a high level for 4 straight games. We played about as good as we could play.
The pitching today, did it go kind of for you with how you were able to get 4 out of Widener and then go to Reagan, and did it all just kind of fall into place as you envisioned it?
Almost perfect. And and we wrestled with it now. We wrestled with it. We came that close to starting Reagan this morning, and we just wanted to get off to a good start, and I wanted to have some power stuff at the end of the game, and so we thought about starting him. And with that being said, Taylor was special. One of his best outings, and obviously with the season on the line, his velocity was great. His location was great. He's learned how to pitch this year instead of just throw. And then Reagan did what Reagan did. Got a little tired there at the end, but Reagan kept him off balance. It's hard to see 96 and then all of a sudden a guy coming in there throwing 75-mile-an-hour changeups. It's hard, and that gave him a totally different look. And it worked out perfect. It worked out perfect because the kids threw well, not because we made the right decision. It worked out perfect because the kids threw their tails off and played their tails off. And, we look awfully smart up here as coaches when they do that. And but it was really nothing that we did. It was they executed and played and pitched, and they played like Gamecocks.
All right, Chad Holbrook and his comments in studio. We'll get more from him coming up after the break. But your initial impressions on the Gamecocks' day?
Well, their day was outstanding. Really, that run through the tournament, and you heard Chad Holbrook talk about it, the odds stacked so far against them after their loss on Friday. Fans had jumped off the ship. They had to get everybody back on board. They had to fight, scratch, and claw. The pitching had to hold up. Everybody, they had to get unsung heroes, a bullpen catcher turning into an all-regional guy. Great on all fronts. South Carolina baseball. Classic USC postseason performance for their baseball team.
And in Baton Rouge, LSU, 2-run homer and another run. They lead Rice, top of the 7th, now 3-2. Give me the recruiting report after the top of the hour break. Back to K-Mac, who was over watching USC take down Wilmington today on a hot day at Founders Park. Fans turned out over 7,000. You heard Chad Holbrook more than once commend the fans. And, you know, I think people misunderstood back in the season to some degree. Maybe he shouldn't have gone there, but I think he was speaking from his heart when he said, encourage fans to be louder in the park and create more excitement to help his team. And that's what he was talking about, the kind of atmosphere that you were there must have had today that helped prepare and win this region.
There's no question the crowd was a factor, really beginning Sunday, the Sunday afternoon game. There weren't as many people there Sunday. There weren't as many people there Friday, Saturday, or Sunday as there were today, which was amazing at 2 o'clock on a Thursday that they have over 7,000 people there. And it was a legit 7,000.
Today's Tuesday.
Yeah, what is today? What did I say, Thursday?
Yes.
Yeah, Tuesday.
I know it seems like one long day.
This has been one long.
I still feel like
I don't
it's
even
Friday.
know where I am.
I feel like I went to work on Friday. I woke up, went to work, and I just, still working.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
So these
anyway,
regionals do too.
So where was I? Yeah, the crowd, 2 errors today, at least out of the 3 were crowd related. There was a pop fly in the infield and the crowd screaming, and the guy loses it at the last second, overthrow it on first base, overthrow at second base that extended the inning when they scored the 5 runs. The crowd was a factor. It was a factor on Sunday night when UNCW was walking guys and there were issues there Friday night. You didn't really see that in the big weekend series against Texas A&M. For whatever reason, and people could say it was a vocal minority, whatever, there was just something rotten around the Gamecock baseball program. Despite the fact that they were winning a bunch of games, that they won the SEC East, that they won 40 games, there was something rotten in the stands, and it was permeating around the program. The players felt it, the coaches felt it, the fans felt it. Whatever that was got thrown out sometime Sunday, and it was like partying like it was 2010 at Founders Park. That's what it felt like. And everything got thrown out the window. People weren't screaming at Chad Holbrook for bunting. People weren't getting mad when John Jones was pinch hitting. Everybody just kind of went
Chilled
with the
out.
flow. Yeah, and I mean, winning does that. Winning does that. And I think everybody has taken a breath now. And I hope that this once and for all, people just leave Chad Holbrook and his staff alone. He knows what he's doing. The program has not slipped. It has not gotten worse every year. There's ebbs and flows with every program, including South Carolina. They're not immune to it. And this is a team that has overachieved. This is an overachieving team, too, with freshmen and sophomores building it up, but a weekend staff that's all sophomore and freshmen. This is an overachieving team that has done very, very well to make a super.
And I think Chad Holbrook, you get kind of jealous, especially in the West Corn, when we see Mississippi State, Texas A&M, their crowds go absolutely berserk.
Yeah. Well, there's no reason for them not to be excited Saturday and Sunday if you can sustain the heat, because this Oklahoma State team is really good. They're a big-time national program, and it should be a great super regional. We have more coming up. We'll be back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia. Phil Kornbluth, the professor, Tom Hayes, K-Mac, Kevin McCrary, back from Founders Park. Carson Mason, all together. Got time for some phone calls here, we think, because none of our planned interviews have come to fruition yet. 800-956-7266, the number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter @sportstalksc. To recruiting now. Linebacker Devon Bowen of Woodmont is going to make his announcement tomorrow on Twitter at noon. And strong feeling here is it will be USC. His announcement's coming 4 days after getting an offer from USC at camp where he ran extremely well. Louisville, Maryland, Minnesota, Missouri, and Army are some of his other major offers. But he said after getting the USC offer that it was the one he'd been looking for, waiting on. He's always loved USC. So no reason not to think he won't end up picking USC tomorrow. 14 sacks last year. Defensive back C.J. Avery, 6'1", 196, Grenada, Mississippi. His top 10, as we mentioned yesterday, has Clemson in and down. More from him. Talking about Clemson, great program. After seeing them in the national championship last year, great defensive backs last couple of years. Looking forward to being at Clemson next week. He's going to be there for a 3-day camp. Also plans to camp at Louisville, Tennessee, Auburn. The Tigers and his other favorites scouted him during the spring, and he said coaches say they like the fact that he just comes in and hits and he can cover receivers. No favorite among the 10. Plans to narrow his list one more time. Defensive end M.J. Webb of Madison, Georgia, was back at USC Monday for a visit, not for camp. He brought his grandmother in to get a look at the school and the academics. He said every time he's at USC, he enjoys it. First time for his grandmother being there, she enjoyed it. Saw the dorms, academic advisors, met with the coaches, Muschamp, Thompson, and McClendon. And he always feels very comfortable, he says, when he's at USC. He was at Tennessee Friday, Auburn Saturday, going back to Tennessee June 18th, going to Kentucky in July. He's also had Florida, Georgia Tech, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State high on his favorites lists. USC, Auburn, and Tennessee, however, are 3 prominent with him right now. No interest in Georgia. He says it's 30 minutes away, and he wants to get away from home. He feels like Auburn and South Carolina, the other schools, are far enough away where it's an easy drive, but it is away from home. Interestingly, he told me that he recently was fishing in Lake Hartwell right near the Clemson campus and caught a 22-pound striper. Defensive back Mike Carter, Douglasville, Georgia, was at Clemson yesterday. Union County receiver Shi Smith, who's been a strong USC lean for weeks, was in Columbia today and yesterday. He's close on announcing. Don't know if it'll happen this week. It's possible. But when it does, strong likelihood it will be USC for him as well. All right, that is it for recruiting for now. We'll pass along anything else we run across. Check it out on the website, sportstalksc.com, on Twitter, #STRecruiting. Be right back. Well, so much for the dream of a super regional at Coastal. They're in the top of the 8th. LSU's tacked on 2 more runs, 5-2 now. Rice is starting to come unglued. They've committed a couple of errors, given up a couple of home runs. So pack your bag, Chanticleers. Pack your bag. Looks like you're heading to Baton Rouge later this week.
Get some roadkill gumbo.
Yeah,
moonshine.
They'll go wherever they feel like they need to go to get her done. That's going to be tough to get through Baton Rouge to Omaha. 5-2, LSU now leading Rice, top of the 8th. Let's jump to the phones. Pat in Greenville, welcome into Sports Talk. How you doing?
Doing great, guys. How are you guys?
We're terrific. Thank you for calling.
Well, I just had one quick statement and then one quick question. And my statement is that, Chad Holbrook just knows Ray Tanner. We all know that. To realize that Ray Tanner handpicked him, such a good recruiter, and he can deal with these kids in a real great way. And I think we all need to hush up and trust that Ray did the right job. And whether we win another game or not, I think he's justified the faith that Ray put into him. And then
I was about to say.
Well, let me just say this. And this is the end of his 4th season as coach at South Carolina. He's going to his 2nd super. He was in a regional, and they had 1 bad year. So 3 out of 4 getting to the post, 2 times getting to a super, maybe getting to Omaha this year. I'd say the resume looks pretty good.
I mean, he got knocked for going to a super regional his first year, losing in the 3rd and decisive game at Chapel Hill. That's not a bad season. Okay, so that wasn't the team slipping. They were going to go down from 3 straight trips to Omaha, where they won 2 national championships and played for a 3rd.
Yeah.
So
ask Texas how hard it is.
Yeah, well,
ask Southern Cal how hard it is.
Ask Virginia how hard it is.
Ask Virginia how
they
hard.
Lost at home.
Yeah, it's.
Ask Vanderbilt, the team that they played for the championship last year.
The landscape for college baseball has changed so much in just the last 5 years, with the talent, the parity equaling out, and more good teams. You see these. These smaller schools, I don't want to call them mid-majors, these smaller schools like Wilmington and Coastal and Lafayette and Stony Brook a couple of years ago, and on and on and on. I mean, they've got some good arms and guys that can hit and run. All of a sudden, they beat you. They're in position to win a regional.
I agree.
Go ahead.
Well, my question is, and I'm not a Clemson hater, okay? I'm a Carolina lover, but I'm not a Clemson hater. But my question is, I heard Monty Lee say when Clemson lost that he was now going to be pulling for Oklahoma State to go all the way. And my question is, was he doing that for his fans and for his players, or do you think he's honestly going to be pulling for Oklahoma State to beat Carolina? And I'll leave that question and let you guys answer it, and thanks for the call.
Well, we'll try to get Monty on this week to do a wrap-up of his season. I was there when he made the comment, and I can't read what's inside his mind, but he's certainly not going to come out and say, yeah, now that we're out of it, I sure want to see South Carolina go to Omaha.
Monty Lee is a very smart guy. He will not say that.
Yeah.
Now, he's also not going to come out and say, I hope South Carolina loses either, because he has tremendous amount of respect for Ray Tanner. He worked with Ray Tanner. He knows Chad Holbrook. Now, when they play, he wants to beat the brains in, and he's competitive, but he did say that, and that's before he knew they'd play Oklahoma. Oklahoma State would play South Carolina. He had no idea what was going on there. He was pulling for them, and that's fine. But I don't think that was a subtle.
No, it was
Jedi.
I'm
going to shake USC's tree.
It was more of a tribute to a team that dominated the Clemson region,
right?
As Oklahoma State did, and as Clemson was the national seed there, and they were the home team, and the last thing that you expected was for a visiting team to come in and just dominate things the way the Cowboys did. But they, from the opening gun, beating Nebraska 6-0, then beating Clemson badly once, and then beating them a second time as the way they did. So that was more of a tribute to them than anything else. What he really thinks and feels inside, that's up to Monty. The thing is, they had a good year. They won a championship, did a lot of really special things with a team that wasn't expected to do much. And so he's got it going off to a good start. And now, South Carolina continues its season with a team that was rebuilt from last year. They went out and recruited players to play right away from the junior college ranks. They put 2 freshman pitchers into their starting rotation, including one who was coming off Tommy John surgery, and they held up for the most part. They never really had that guy at the end of the bullpen who was they didn't have the Mark Price, the absolute, closer.
But they had a good group.
But they had a good group with Johnson and Reagan. But not looking past Oklahoma State or anything else, but my feeling is that the future for USC baseball is even brighter. Now we'll wait and see what happens Thursday when the draft starts and who they end up losing. But with their recruiting classes, that they are building one good one on top of another, and you're going to throw Will Crow back into the mix?
Maybe. I mean, Will Crow, I saw one thing. I don't know if it was Baseball America, a perfect game, a top 100 player potentially in this draft.
Well, we had him on, and he says his intention is to come back.
Of course he's going to say that. And he's at every game.
People
and
don't lie on sports talk. This is one
they
place
never
where
lie,
only
right?
the truth.
Yeah, I remember Sidney Rice saying, looking me in the eye and saying he's coming back.
They just mix up
that was
truth
you.
a little bit.
Well, he did it to Steve Spurrier, too. How'd that turn out?
Well, he didn't tell me that.
Yeah. Well, he told you the truth.
But that's before the scouts told him there's some money to
Yeah.
be made. The interesting thing, though, Monty Lee may have set some kind of record. It's not going to be an official record, but I have never seen a team play so strongly. And their weekend starters, they had 1 and 2 TBAs. I've never seen.
Oh
that
yeah,
before.
yeah. They really had to try to tape it together there with the pitching staff, and they're going to lose some guys. They're going to lose Crawl. They're going to lose Okie. They're going to lose Triller, who really came on strong the last few weeks of the season. They got some guys to replace, but this is where they're counting on him to go out and bring in some.
They've got plenty of beer.
Some talent. Yeah. Speaking of, let me mention this: Baseball America's All-American team came out today, and on the first team is Seth Beer.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
because
D1
Beer is
baseball
good. Somehow left them off their first team.
369 batting average, 18 homers, 70 RBI, 62, 27 strikeouts, 1 stolen base. What a year he had. On the second team from Clemson, you have got catcher Chris Okie, 339, 15 homers, 74 RBIs. And on the third team from Clemson, you have got is it third team for Pat Krall? Pat Krall's on the team as well. Let's see, where is he at here? Pat Krall from Clemson, third team, 10-2, 1.67 ERA. No Gamecocks on the Baseball America All-American team, and no one from Coastal Carolina either that I have seen. So just 3 Tigers making the Baseball America All-America team. Let me mention a few other things here real quick. USC, ESPN, SEC announcing game times for the first 3 USC games of the season in football. Officially now, Vanderbilt will be an 8 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. Then Mississippi State, the following Saturday, will be 7 o'clock. These are Eastern time. 7 o'clock on ESPN2. And then the home opener, September 17th, Gamecocks going for a 3-0 start, will be at 4 o'clock on the SEC network against East Carolina.
Hades at 4 o'clock in the middle of
Will the
September.
Gamecocks be going for a 3-0 start? They'll be no worse than 1-1 coming out of the first 2 weeks. I am pretty confident there'll be no 2 start. And then you beat East Carolina, which they should at home. 3-1. I'm sorry, 3-0 or 2-1. I think they would sign up for that right now.
Yeah, they would. They would. And Mississippi State has become a tremendously tough place to play. Even though they won't have their quarterback, their defense is still pretty salty.
Yeah. And they'll have their defensive end back, assuming he doesn't beat any other women up between now and that game.
And as you know, part of the ESPN announcement included the Clemson and Auburn game, 9 o'clock on ESPN on September 3rd. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk Radio Network here from downtown Columbia. We remind you to score big with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders has convenient office locations at USC, new location coming soon to Clemson, plus ATMs on the campuses of Clemson, Converse, Limestone, PC, USC Lancaster, Winthrop, and York Tech. Visit foundersfcu.com for a full listing. To find an ATM or office near you. Not a member? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA. Well, Rice went a long time between hits. They had some runs and hits in the second inning, and then they were down in order every inning until the bottom of the eighth with one out. They have gotten a single. They are down 5-2, 5-6-1 for LSU, 2-4-2 for Rice. This is the last regional standing before all the supers are filled, and this, of course, impacts Coastal. Coastal hoping that Rice will rally and bring the super to Conway. If not, Coastal will go to LSU beginning this weekend. And you heard well, now I've got to go back and look at the scenario if LSU is hosting. I guess that will still be 9 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah.
Coastal was going to play at 9 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday at Coastal if
So
they were
that'd be
hosting.
an 8 o'clock start in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Go straight from the game to never mind.
Whatever's on your mind. All right, so 5-2 LSU continues to lead Rice. A couple of other things to pass along. Clemson has a new men's tennis coach. John Bache has been named as the 9th men's tennis coach in the program's history. Former Clemson player, 2003 and 2004. Been an assistant coach for 8 years, including the last 3 as associate head coach. Chuck McEwen, who was the coach the past 8 seasons and an assistant 6 years before that, will remain with the program as director of tennis operations. Furman announced its Hall of Fame class for this year for their Athletic Hall of Fame. Bruce Evans, former standout basketball player and one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Women's basketball coach Sherry Carter and former baseball star Derek Norman. They'll be inducted on October 7th at the Hyatt Regency in downtown Greenville. And I think that is pretty much everything that we've got on our plate for now. Coming up here at the bottom of the hour, hopefully we're going to try and connect with Gary Gilmore at Coastal Carolina. We're also hopefully going to hear tonight from Chip Weil from Darlington, a Tuesday after a big NASCAR race up at Pocono, which actually was held yesterday because of the weather. If you're just tuning in, you don't know what went on in Columbia. The Gamecocks 10-5 winners over UNC Wilmington. The Gamecocks at 46-16, and Wilmington finishes up at 41-19. Earlier in the day, Coastal Carolina rallied to beat NC State after trailing 5-3 in the top of the ninth, having to go home and sleep on a bases-loaded one-out situation, and they come back and score 4 runs in the ninth to win that one 7-5. We'll be right back. All right, they're going to the bottom of the ninth in Baton Rouge. It's still 5-2 LSU over Rice. So LSU 3 outs away from advancing and hosting Coastal Carolina. By the way, I was watching LSU and Rice last night. Is that still – was it Wayne Graham? Is that still the coach?
Yeah,
at Rice?
80 years old.
80.
I was going to – well, okay, I was going to say
80.
90, but he is 80.
He's 80.
Okay,
He has 2 years left on his contract.
I was thinking to myself, that poor
I'm
guy.
assuming that means with Baylor, not life.
I shouldn't say
I mean,
poor
Rice.
guy. I mean, I was thinking he was 90, but he's only 80. But that's pretty good for 80 to be, out there running a college baseball
The
team.
funny thing
And
about
running
it
a high
is,
level college baseball
Yeah.
team.
when you watch him walk, and I know he's kind of slumped because he's 80, but it reminds me of Sparky Anderson.
Yeah.
So it looks just like him. Now, here's a guy that's got to be the only coach in college. He played for Casey Stengel. With the Mets.
Yeah. He played in the big leagues for Casey Stengel.
That's hilarious.
I mean,
That is
and they were talking about it on the broadcast. They said you should see his lineup card. It's like in this perfect script.
Oh, I'm sure it's
He's a
all old
throwback.
school.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's all old school.
I'm sure he's not doing sabermetrics when he's trying to.
And
figure out what he's
unfortunately,
gonna do.
he's one of these guys who no doubt is driven by what he does. And the moment he retires, he's probably going to croak. That's why you just need to let him keep on going. It's true. I mean, think about
You don't think he
about
can
Bear
make it to
Bryant.
100?
Bear Bryant, 6 months after he retired, what happened? Dead.
Are you saying Steve Spurrier's days are numbered?
Well,
No,
he's
'cause
not
he's got
that old.
golf.
Yeah,
People said the same thing about Bobby Bowden. He's doing okay for himself.
that's true.
Hmm.
That's true.
You got to find something to do.
I didn't say it's absolute,
You
but there
got to
are
find
cases,
something to do.
There are cases where it does happen. All right, if you want to join us, 800-956-7266 is the phone number. USC advancing to the Super Regional round of the NCAA baseball tournament for the 12th time. the SEC tweeted out. This was an SEC tweet that with this 12th Super Regional visit, that's the most of any SEC team, the first to 12 in the SEC. The USC baseball program has been the crown jewel, really, of USC athletics going back to the mid-'70s when Bobby Richardson really kind of got it going. He got it to a level. June Raines took it up to the next level, came close to getting that first national championship, couldn't do it. And then, of course, Ray Tanner took it even further to the point where they became a mainstay on the national stage and won 2 championships and came close to winning a couple of more, losing in a couple of championship games. So it has been the crown jewel of Gamecock athletics. Say what you will about football and basketball, sometimes good, sometimes not so good, but by and large, since about 1974, that's we're going on 40 years. The baseball program at South Carolina has been pretty competitive. It has its off years, as every baseball team will do, but by and large, they've been right there in postseason play. They've only missed one postseason tournament miss since '99. So my point is that's something for Gamecock fans to feel good about and proud about. And now you're going to be facing a team coming in with Oklahoma State that's not going to back up to anybody's tradition or heritage or anything like that, because they've got a pretty solid tradition of their own when it comes to NCAA, World Series, and postseason play and all that.
So it sounds like to me, if you explain, and you're right, South Carolina's had opportunities to win national championships before, then you kind of think, what role did finally getting in that new stadium do? Because they had everything else but the stadium. So as soon as they moved to that stadium.
You mean Founders Park?
Yeah. As soon as they moved to the new stadium, it's almost like it went up another level.
Oh, yeah. Oklahoma State has been to 19 College World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 6 most all time. They're advancing to the 4th Super Regional in program history, 99, 2007, 2014, and now. Josh Holliday, he played at Oklahoma State. He also was a coach at Vanderbilt. He was an assistant coach for Corbin at Vanderbilt. So he knows all about Columbia. He knows all about Founders Park. He knows all about the Gamecocks. He will not be a stranger to facing USC. They are in NCAA tournament play. This is their 42nd appearance in the tournament. They've won 141 games. They've won over 61% of their tournament games in the NCAA tournament, seventh best all time. So they've got tradition and history and a belief too. So they're not going to come in intimidated, especially, you go to Doug Kingsmore and you win 3 games, 2 of them against Clemson. They're going to face a little bit bigger crowd. They had, I think the largest crowd, of course it was packed. I think the largest crowd was 5,600 at Doug Kingsmore, which is about all they can seat. And they're going to face about 3,000 more. What is Carolina State? What is Founder's Park? 7,200, I think.
Something like
8,200.
that.
I'm sorry,
8,200.
So it should be packed to the gills. I would imagine that the berm will be filled and all the standing room and everything else will be taken up.
Well, the thing about Oklahoma State, if you can recall, and you talked about their history, the program is dominant is the fact that it was the one. It was the one team on that campus that dominated Oklahoma.
It's gone final. LSU wins it 5-2. There was no comeback for Rice.
Well, the comeback was LSU's because Rice was leading 2-0.
Right.
I was saying that,
and they went down in order: fly out, ground out, and struck out.
Well, see, now you pour some gumbo over the Rice.
Yeah. So Coastal Carolina will go to LSU.
Yeah.
This weekend, and let me just go back here and find that schedule.
Put up the golf clubs.
Let's see if LSU wins, and they did. 9:00 Saturday night, Baton Rouge on ESPNU. Game 2, 9:00. See, that's the Alex Box at 9:00 Eastern time down in Baton Rouge. That's going to be a rocking place. That's going to be tough on the
There'll be a few
team.
sober people there.
You think?
Yeah.
Not many. Not many.
I think the media will be sober.
The designated drivers.
I think the only sober people will be in the dugouts.
The designated drivers are the only ones.
So good luck to Coastal going down there to LSU. I wonder if Gilmore will call Holbrook and say, "Hey, man, what's the key to beating LSU down there? What do you have to do?"
Well, this year,
or you can call Ray. I didn't play him. Huh?
I didn't.
Nobody's played them before. They've been down there before.
You just can't give them extra outs. You can't do it. And let's face it, a couple of gopher balls and a couple of errors did Rice in. That's all it took.
Well, I think Coastal's got the pitching. We talked about this last night in a short series. They have got the pitching. You saw Beckwith come out of the bullpen today. They've got 3 solid starters and a great closer. So if they can go deep, if their starters can go deep into the game and give them a chance to have a lead late, and they can bring Morrison in to finish up, they'll have a great chance. That's easier said than done against an established traditional program like LSU.
But this is Coastal's opportunity. It's interesting. Gary Gilmore was probably sitting there watching Rice just hold on, cling to that 2-0 lead, hoping. But now he looks at his team. Guys, this is what you came here for. If we're going to be known as a top program like we are, we know we are, we go into LSU's place, take a scalp, and we're there.
So LSU, which finished 3rd in the West, is in a super. Texas A&M, which finished 2nd in the West, is in a super. Mississippi State, which won the league in the regular season, is in a super. And USC and Florida. So that's 5 from the SEC. 5 of the 8 supers are SEC
1
teams.
and 2 in the East.
Yeah.
And
the
2
best
in the
teams.
East. Yeah.
The best teams did. Yeah, that's
And
how
then
it usually works. And Vanderbilt had everything not gone just tragically wrong in that regional. I think it might have turned out a little different for them up there.
You could tell that they just weren't there after the tragedy. They just weren't there. And so in the of course, in the ACC's guaranteed a team in the World Series because you got Boston College playing Miami. Then you got East Carolina, Texas Tech, Big 12. And am I missing anybody else? Oh, that last one. Yeah. You got Santa Barbara and Louisville.
Right.
In the other
Could
one.
be interesting there, too.
The Big 12 has had itself quite a tournament so far. Very good overall record by its teams. Back in a moment. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. If you want to jump on board, 800-956-7266. The all-region team at USC's regional. The catcher, Hunter Taylor. Who would have thought that going in? The third baseman, D.C. going in. The outfield, Gene Cone, no surprise. The DH utility player, Alex Destino. Did he play any outfield? Or just strictly DH?
He played some outfield.
Yeah. The starting pitcher.
No, yeah. No, I don't know that he did. No, it was Hopkins, Cone, and DTW. So no, he didn't.
Did not. Okay. Starting pitcher, Tyler Johnson. Oh, that's.
Yeah, that very last line is.
And the MVP was Tyler Johnson. The relief pitcher is Tyler Wilson.
Yeah. Well, he's not a relief pitcher. He started against South Carolina on Friday night. You just picked two pitchers.
You got two pitchers. Gotcha. All right, so there you go. And Tyler Johnson was the MVP. And what a performance he gave them, especially in that start the other day. He was tremendous. All right, so it's all set. South Carolina to host Oklahoma State on a Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. It is going to be hot. Hey, no doubt about it. It's going to be scorching.
3 o'clock.
In Columbia. 3 o'clock, I'm sorry. 3 o'clock in Columbia, scorching. And Coastal Carolina going to LSU at 9 o'clock. Through the rest of the week, of course, we'll hear plenty from the coaches. We'll hear from the Oklahoma State coach, Coach Holliday, who is the brother of the Major League star, Matt Holliday. And so look forward to hearing from him. He's got a really good ball club. We'll talk to Coach Gilmore as they get ready for LSU. So should be a lot of fun leading up to these super regionals. And, you know, the super regionals, they have an intensity unique to them. You know, the regionals, of course, have intensity as you move through them. You get to that last game, but then the supers, you know, Coastal, I don't know what happened around the country as regionals finished. How did the Gamecocks react after their regional? Dogpile or no?
No dogpile.
Coastal dogpiled on NC State's field.
Yeah. No, South Carolina did not dogpile. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that I've ever seen them dogpile after a regional. After Super is when you go to Omaha.
Super is when you normally
but it was a very business. I mean, they celebrated, no doubt about that, but there was not any dogpiling or any over.
Like someone got injured in a dog.
It was a business-like approach.
Yeah. Coastal thing, I guess, because you know of the extended time they were there, having to sleep on a deficit overnight, and then scoring those runs in the ninth and winning on State's home field and all that. Yeah, they let it all hang out, and they still think about Coastal. They don't view themselves, but they realize that the perception is that they're, as Gary Gilmore said. In fact, we've got some Gary Gilmore comments. Let's roll the audio from Coach Gilmore. We'll bring you a little something here from Gary Gilmore talking about his players and the pride in winning this regional. They play with a chip on their shoulder because they know when they go to these SEC, ACC parks, they're viewed as a mid-major team and not some kind of major power. This is courtesy of of Ryan Young of the Myrtle Beach Sun News, who was there covering the shots. Here is the audio. Gilmore talked about his team and his pride and what they did.
Yeah, I've coached 31 years. This is one of the finest group of young men I've ever been around. They simply refuse to quit. And you can watch it in how they play and how they go about doing what they do. They're going to be great people in life when their baseball year's in, just because of the makeup and who they are. And they're as close-knit a group as I've had in 31 years, and they'll take them a long way in life.
Coach, having done so long and knowing how rare these opportunities are, and it's been 6 years since the last one, what are the emotions for you right now to be back in this spot?
Being at any school, but especially, what people consider us a mid-major, to have all the pieces fall into place where, for us to be a team challenges to get to a super and to challenge to go to Omaha, you've got to have a lot of upperclassmen to lead the way. And a lot of times we lose them in the draft. So you're missing a piece here and missing a piece there. And, not that we haven't.
Game presser today in Raleigh. Congratulations to the Chanticleers for making the Super Regional. Congratulations to the Gamecocks as well. And you know what? It gives us something real meaty to chew on here, get us to mid-June and maybe longer if one or both. How about having two teams at the College World Series again? We've done that before from the Palmetto State, and you know what? Things are set up now that it's possible once again, and we'll be back.